Welcome back. Take number 2, Full Heel Podcast. I hope everything's working. Seems like it, and I hope it stays working this time. I don't know why last time Ryan froze on me, and then I froze on Ryan. Blah, blah, blah. But we are here, and it's good to be back. Sorry about last week. I got lazy. I could have brought you a solo episode. I didn't have any guests. Ryan was busy. I didn't hit up Jeff. I didn't hit up Jesus. The rewrites are MIA. I don't know what they're doing. Frankie's going to New Orleans, something like that, something crazy. Ooh, some black magic stuff. I don't know what's going on there.
Frankie, better be bringing back some beignet and some gumbo.
Yeah, Frankie, the number one Trump supporter of FHP, right there.
He wants that wall built so fast that he wants your family to build
dude,
it.
He wants 2 walls, dude. I heard him say that. He's like, fuck one. He's like, I want 2. Build 2 of them.
Oh fuck!
I love Frankie. Yeah, but they're going to New Orleans, so I'm bachelor party.
Nice.
I'll bet they'll have fun. I'm not too much of a partier, so.
But Nolans, man, that's one of my top. It's one of my top 5 places I want to visit. So.
I'd visit it. I want to try the food, see the culture a little bit, some of the art.
That's it. I want the food and just walk down the streets and experience things as I walk it from restaurant to restaurant, shop to shop, cafe to cafe, just everything. Yeah, he's gonna have a fucking blast, and he'll be happy because Trump doesn't care about them.
Yeah, he doesn't. Yeah, and he's pretty far, and he could probably visit the wall. Isn't it like?
Yeah, it probably starts down there.
It's close enough.
Yeah.
Take a picture.
Yeah, there's a lot of Mexicans down there.
To be honest, that wall's been there for a long time. I'm not gonna get political.
No, yeah, I was actually gonna make a really, really in poor taste Katrina joke, so I'm happy that you stopped, so I stopped.
Well, thanks a lot, Ryan, for pawning your kids off to your wife and joining me today on the Full Heel Podcast. It's a pleasure having you.
Last week when I was just hanging out by myself, and threw in.
Oh yeah, you put in time last week. Boom! This week's your week.
Yeah. Is it? Yeah, sure. Yeah. We'll say that. Yeah, I was just hanging out on Saturday night there last Saturday, so like 10, 11 days ago. Just tossed in the Scott Hall Walking a Razor's Edge DVD, and it's like, oh man, thinking about you while watching Scott Hall. Okay, let's do a Scott Hall episode. I said, let's fucking do it.
We've been talking about doing one of these, and I said, I have no problem doing it. I'm like, but the only thing is, I'm like, we got to do Scott Hall. I'm like, we got to do Razor Ramon.
100%, and we have to do it right. We don't want like we had discussed. We don't want to do like every other podcast where it's like, in 1971 he was born. In 1973 he rode his first bicycle. Like we don't care about that. Like we just, we're gonna touch on the main stuff, like the career. Dip in and out of personal things if it involves the career, and we want to do it just like do it differently. Not do a 4.5, 5 hour podcast on the whole person
around the matches.
Exactly.
Yeah. Me and Ryan picked 6 matches each. I did it randomly.
I did the same thing. I avoided my favorite matches because I wanted to find matches with guys that I like, that I wanted to see him against, or matches with him with guys that he knew and see how he was with them in the ring. Because I tried to avoid your Shawn Michaels, because I've seen him so many times in the ladder matches and other
we just
matches.
Covered that too, so I avoided that one too.
Yeah,
that was one of my picks for me and Jesus, I think.
Oh yeah, that was your first
Yeah.
best favorite matches podcast. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I stayed away from it. I'm like, if Ryan picks it, I'm like, I'll go into it again. I don't mind hearing the guests.
Yeah, like when we get around that time frame, I'll probably just give my little 2 cents because I know that
Mhm.
you've already broken it down your way. So I'll just kind of like
Yeah,
dip in a little bit, just kind of my thing. But
and
yeah, it's fun to do this a single person because when we did our pick three, I was like all over the map, like fuck, I want to do this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy, and I had so many things I wanted to pick from. So for me this time, it was nice to just be like, okay, Scott Hall. Who do I want to see Scott Hall face?
hmm
And just go from there. It was a lot easier, and I was able to pick a couple of good matches. And the ones you picked, I enjoyed them, and they were so random that I wasn't expecting certain matches I didn't even know he had, and then also to uh, to see him grow from the early stages in the major promotion to creating, basically he created the Attitude Era when he jumped ship. So to see his growth from leaving the AWA to the Hall of Fame induction, like that chunk of his career is so big and it's in such a short time frame that
yeah,
I feel like we covered a good amount, and I'm happy to actually finally sit down and have this conversation.
yeah. It's gonna be a fun one. Like I said, we've been talking about this one for a while. But before we get into it, I know we're raring to get into it. I am. Like I said, I'm like I wish I would have done an episode, at least a solo one last week, just to touch on wrestling or something or fight news. I think the John Jones news was out of the strip club thing, but
Oh yeah,
that's
yeah.
not really my thing. My thing isn't the strip club incident with John Jones. Check out if you guys want to know about it.
Rafa
Leave a
MZ's
comment.
on the news.
Yeah,
Here we go.
actually read the. I actually posted about it actually in the group. That was about
Yeah,
it. I didn't need a video on it to. Oh, I'm up in arms about it. Not really. If it's really true, I think I'm done. But that's about it. But
with John Jones, I've basically learned that he's Mike Tyson.
Mike
He's gonna
Tyson.
be he's accused of everything. It's just a matter of what is he actually guilty of.
hmm
Because at this point in time, it's like he sneezes and someone's like, "Oh, he sneezed on me."
hmm
Like, well, like, okay. It's
Yeah.
like I'm just letting it play out before I'm just saying, you know what? He's been accused and he's been innocent. He's been accused and he's been guilty. At this point, I'm just letting this thing play out.
Yeah. So how was your week off or your week away from Full Wheel Podcast? What'd you do?
Uh, well, the week off was fun. I just did nothing. Had a birthday, got a year older.
Yeah, you took a whole week off, right, of work.
Yeah, yeah. So that was
Nice.
it. Just had some time with the family. Just relaxed. Did my thing, and yeah, Kara took off on the Saturday morning. Like at the end of my week, so we had like a full week together. Then she and the kids went down to see her mom for the weekend. I had some a little bit alone time before I went back to work, and now I'm just getting ready for the end of August when I have 16 days off. Oh yeah,
Oh yeah, that's nice.
that's fucking
Yeah,
nice.
that's for
Now,
me. I've been continuing to work out with my niece. Ran yesterday, looped the park.
Ran. The rumor has it that there was a 16-year-old Mexican girl pulling a giant Mexican man in a rickshaw in the greater Chicago area.
This is all false. Making Full Hail Podcast Fight Center look like a farce. We are not a farce. I challenge you to a fight, Ryan. No,
Can it be 2-on-1? Can I have your niece?
yeah, she's in barely week 5, so yeah, I'll destroy both of you.
Yeah.
No, we are starting week 5 of training. Eventually, I'm gonna move my training with her to the park and see if I can get other people interested, so I can scam them into paying me to teach them how to box.
Hey, yes, that's how it starts, man. Freddie Roach.
Yep. I have the pupil. I have my niece. All I have to do is make her look pretty out there. Pop, pop. Not girly pretty. I mean, in the skill of boxing, make her look pop, 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 pop. Just make her look really nice to her. Other females want to come up to me and be like, "Hey, can you teach me how to box as well?" And be like, "Yeah, self defense for the neighborhood. Fuck yeah." I am fucking Rafael Chaidez. Listen to Full Heel Podcast. Full Heel Podcast, Fight Center, McKinley Park area. Coming to you soon. Coming to you soon. But I.
And as I saw you post, that's going to be leash off, is it, or dog friendly? Was
Oh,
that?
there's a dog. Yeah, there's a dog park coming too.
That's awesome.
Yeah, there's a dog park coming too. They've one of my friends has been working on it, Karina, forever. She's lived in the neighborhood a little bit. She's got 2 dogs, and she's been on the committee forever working on it. And they're finally gonna build one in the area. But me and my niece have been looping it. We've been doing rounds of jump rope in the backyard, 100 squats every time we work out, and then hitting the
That's
pads.
awesome.
Yeah, I've just been pushing her, showing her inspirational females that are in MMA, and she seems to be really liking it. So I'm gonna keep doing it. I
Y-
I get home and I don't want to do it. I get home after 8 9 hours of work, and I just want to sit down and smoke a fat ass bowl of weed like at any other human being and be lazy and eat
Yeah.
and just be a lazy cunt and like take a nap. But I regroup for like 30 40 minutes, eat a quick snack at the beginning of those 40 minutes so it washes down by the time I'm ready. We go outside, we prep the backyard, and we get our shit done because I got my heavy bag in the backyard. I got my Thai pads, and I show her combos. I downloaded the app where it gives me rounds, sets, time, recovery, setup, and it beep beep beep, and it's pretty cool.
Well,
So
it's like you said yesterday when you talked about getting ready to go for a run, and I had made my little, my little rickshaw joke, and you were like, you know what, like fuck, man, I wish, but nah, I
that'd be
gotta
cool.
get after, and
Yeah.
it's true, like you said, like it takes someone special to be a leader, and you're showing all the signs of
Mm-hmm.
like being a leader, and like an inspiration, because there could be someone that you know randomly likes wrestling, hears this podcast, that lives in somewhere in England, or
Yeah.
somewhere like, who you never know where this could reach, and they hear like, oh, this guy, all he wants to do is smoke weed when he finishes work, but he actually goes out and he takes his niece and he's helping her get in shape and helping her do her thing. And you can inspire a lot of people. You can lead people without realizing it and make a big change in someone's life
And then come
as you
and then come
as
back and then come back and smoke weed after all that.
exactly when you come back. That's it. After you've done the duties, that's the reward, right?
Yeah,
As
no,
opposed
no,
to,
it's great. It's great, man. I'm losing weight. My face is thinning out. You guys can't really tell because I got rid of the beard, but I can tell because I got rid of the beard and I saw how much of a fucking which I still have some of it,
we
but
saw, we just didn't want to say
yeah, okay,
anything.
yeah,
No,
thanks,
I'm just
thanks, brother. You know what? I
no,
blame you guys then for fucking making me fat. God damn it.
you guys demanding all these episodes that he has to
Goddamn
sit down
Jeff
and
with his
do.
fucking frozen coffees and getting me addicted to those sons of bitches, and then you guys not telling me. I'm blaming everybody. Everyone's getting it. Uh,
Oh man.
yeah, no, but me working out with my niece, it's. I know what to tell her to motivate her because I had to work next to a team where there was no excuses. I couldn't make excuses because they were working it just as hard as I was, and the coach was working even harder than we were. So
Right.
there was no fucking. Our coach would go for a mile run with us, and then show us how to do the shit, and then do it with us if we were doing it wrong, and walk around and like that's a leader, someone that's willing to do it and show you, and not just be like, "Hey, do this. Hey, do that." It's like, "Hey, I'm doing this. Come help. Hey,
Right.
I'm
Yeah.
doing this. Come do this with me." And I know what to tell her when we're going for runs. I know how to push her in different aspects and different areas of that. Just motivational shit, and I see her. It helps because she pushes. I see the extra. Oh, okay, I want to
Right.
do it, and I'm teaching her hard work at a young age. That's helped me out now at an older age. That I wish I would have learned this at her age, but I did get instilled hard work by my dad that does get appreciated by other people. I just wish I had MMA hard work, which is it's on a different
It's a
level.
whole, yeah, it's a whole different level.
Yeah, and I'm starting her off slow. Like this is gonna lead up to like 25 minutes of jump rope, 25 minutes of pads. It's gonna be like an hour and a half of just pop 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 pop. Right now, I'm building her cardio to the point where it's gonna be that we're just gonna jump rope for half an hour. We're just gonna hit pads for a half an hour after 200 fucking squats. That's just how it's gonna be,
She didn't have the endurance. She'd be running the marathons and beating the Ethiopians.
dude. If if this isn't my this is my opportunity to get me in the gym to teach her a bunch of or not even into the gym to get me into an amateur fight of sorts. This is my last chance. I'm 30 years old. I can get in shape.
Yeah,
I,
yeah.
I'm 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 learning by teaching. Not only is it my opportunity to get into a cage and knock the shit out of somebody and take their soul, but it's my opportunity to one day be able to step foot into a UFC cage by allowing her to accomplish a dream of getting into the octagon.
And it's
Cuz
really cool that you have a 16-year-old girl who's into this kind of stuff. Because there's not a lot, I mean, not even girl, like forget the sex. 16-year-old kids they're all about sitting around playing Fortnite. They don't want to like run around. They want to drink soda, eat Doritos, and play video games all day. The fact
Mhm.
that your niece is willing to get out there and do that kind of stuff, that's amazing.
Yeah, and it that's why I can't complain when I get home from work. Like if she's willing to do it at the age of 15, if she's willing to do that at the age of 15 and not be like, "I'd rather just stay home and not do it." After 8 hours of work, I'm like, "All right, cool. I have no complaint because I used to do it, and there's no reason for me not to do it. What am I gonna go to take a nap? Because that's what I was doing before. Now I'm just using that sleep time to work out, and it's helping me out. I'm getting healthier because I'm 30. It's only downhill from here. I gotta maintain as much as possible. They
Whoa,
say,
whoa, whoa. Easy. Some of us are over the age of 30 there, Rap. We mean down the hill. Come on,
you
man.
better start
My
maintaining. I mean, I mean like for
we're the
physical
golden
peak.
girls. My golden years are ahead of me.
I mean for physical peak performance. Like
No, I know.
it's gonna be hard building muscle after the age of 35, and I'm at
Yeah.
30 right now. So like right now is the opportunity for me to hit a stride and get with it, and not only help her, uh, maybe set a career in the future for her if she likes this, but maybe get an amateur fight for me as well, or maybe even get a fucking black belt. That's the ultimate goal: getting a fucking black belt. An amateur fight would be all right. I wouldn't
Well, I
mind
mean, and
getting an amateur
even
fight.
uh, would have been about 6 years back, and I haven't changed my diet crazy in any which way. 6 years or so ago for Christmas, actually, Kara got me the Rush Fit, the GSP thing, and a couple of weights, and I did it for 2 3 months straight. Really just go 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 go. Carla was born, didn't have as much free time, and despite not changing my diet, the only thing that really changed was age. I put that thing on and I can't do one disc, whereas before I would have done one disc and I would have been like, well, can I do a second? Can I do a third? Like, I
Mm-hmm.
want to go and go and go. But it's so true. Like, when you get older, your body, whether you want to admit it or not, does break down. Like, it's just nature. So taking advantage of it when you have the chance to, it is a really important thing. Like, I wish that I had started maybe when I was in my mid 20s and pushed myself through my 20s into my early 30s so that I could. Well, I mean, I'm in my mid 30s. I could be a touch healthier than I am now. But I mean, I mean, do what you do, live your life. I mean, I can still, don't get me wrong, go for runs, go for walks, push ups, jump rope, like you said, shadow box. There are tons of things that I can do to help cardio, endurance, and build a small amount of muscle if I absolutely need to. But I do see physical limits that I did not see even 3 years ago, 4 years ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, of course, man. It's age. No one could beat it.
Fucking age.
Beats everybody. Beats us. Beats the best of us. But enough about us. Or me for that part. But into the Razor Ramon episode. So, like I said, We're doing this one because Razor's my favorite dude. We'll probably figure out who to do next. We'll probably do Austin or Brett next. That's gonna be up to you. But I'm
Cool.
guessing that's gonna be your choice. I'm not saying that's between those
Oh
two. I
no,
was
no.
just
Like,
guessing it was between
you
those
know
two.
what's funny is I was actually thinking like, who do I want? Like, I was thinking like going over like so many different guys. Like, I was like, looking at like DDP, Ultimate Warrior. Like, there were tons of guys that I would want to go back. Like, I almost want to find like a random guy who I watched but didn't really follow and like really get to know the career and like maybe see something special like I saw in some of the matches that I saw this time.
Well, this ain't the end of FHP, baby. We keep going.
That's it.
Yeah, we keeping this ship going. Eventually, fucking make some bucks off this.
So I can get a full haircut.
Yeah, get you a full haircut, a nice mic. Send you some mics. Well, not multiple mics, unless you're gonna get, unless you're gonna get the kids on the show too.
I mean, Carlos said wrestling stupid, so it's all done to Connor.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's gonna be
it's a challenge.
Yeah, same take over and over again. This is dumb. Well, we need a little bit more than this is dumb, all right?
Yeah. Watch it and then tell me why it's dumb, and then I'll tell you why this is amazing.
It would help with the female. What is it? The female.
The female audience.
Yeah, audience or whatever they call it.
And also the under 8-year-old audience get the kids in on this.
Yeah.
Kids don't watch enough old school wrestling these days. They're too concerned about Roman Reigns.
Yeah. So from the little research I did, Hall began in CWF in 1984. Was trained under Dusty Rhodes. Dusty Rhodes shipped him over to Jim Cornette's company, where him and Spivey, I think his name was, formed the tag team American Starship. Hey, Connor!
Is that you?
Come on.
Here,
Come on, buddy.
Who's that?
Dude, is he a Lannister? Oh, you don't watch Game of
Thrones. The blonde hair?
Yeah, the Lannister.
Hey, I was the same way before I got older, so.
Hi. Yeah. Dude, blue eyes is... Yeah, blue eyes though too.
Yeah, just like me. Don't worry. The mailman doesn't look anything like him.
That blonde hair. It's fucking...
Who's that? Who's that?
Connor.
It's Connor?
Yeah.
Who's Connor?
Daddy.
And Daddy?
Yeah.
And who's that? Do you remember his name?
No.
Can you say Raph?
What?
What?
Where's Mummy?
Really?
Do you want to go and see her?
Yeah.
Let's go find Mummy. Do you want to close the door and go find Mummy? Bye, Connor.
He's like, are you pushing me out of here?
Yeah. He's like, I'll go get her.
Yeah. Yeah, so they form a tag team in Cornette's, not Cornette's. Let's see.
Jim Crockett?
Yeah, Crockett's.
Crockett Promotion. Yeah, that's right.
They form American Starship. He's Starship Coyote, and the other guy's Starship Eagle. They really don't do much there. Hall goes to AWA, becomes Magnum. Scott Hall, or Big Scott Hall, really doesn't really do much there as either. I think the biggest thing was championship, right, with Mr. Perfect.
I was gonna say, yeah, his biggest thing was him and Kurt Hennig formed the tag team and I'd have to go back and look at it in depth, but they had a small run.
I had a clip that I was gonna post, but I didn't. I posted a bunch other words, so you guys can go in the description and see all of these matches that we're talking about and a little bit of intersects of information that we will be interjecting. But all those links are there, so you guys can check it out. But yeah, I didn't post a link to this one. I think it was a tag team match with him and Starship Eagle back in the day. But after leaving Crockett's promotion, he goes back to NWA. They kind of start jobbing him out. Goes to WWC, CWA, and then finally makes his way to WCW, where he becomes a Diamond Stud for about a year. Teams up, Diamond Dallas Page becomes his manager. Doesn't become his tag team partner, and they formed the Diamond Exchange, I think. They had a couple different names.
It was the Diamond Exchange. There was I want to say that there was a third besides DDP and Scott Hall.
I forgot who
I
it was.
I could be wrong.
Jesus would know.
Back when DDP was a manager, I have like zero knowledge of him. I just I've heard interviews and seen things like small snippets of him back in the early days, but I know the Diamond Exchange, I know the Diamond Stud, I know DDP, the Diamond Dolls, but I want to say that there was a second member, but I could be completely mistaken.
Jesus would be the one to ask on this one. I wish Jesus were here, but yeah.
Fucking Jesus skipping out.
Fucking jerk. He has a scheduled one. Fucking, he said he's gonna have more time. He's gonna be on the show. Where are you now, brother? Huh? Where are you now, brother? You ain't nowhere to be seen. And old Ryan is here, all the way from Canada, helping out your boy. How do you feel about that, Jesus? Huh? Sorry. Just Scott Hall was trained by Dusty Rhodes, and I keep seeing his name on my sheet. But yeah, no. So back in WCW, he's the Diamond Stud. Never really considered past the tag level there. Then after the Diamond Stud character, he moves on to WWF, and the Diamond Stud character kind of develops from there and takes on a Scarface persona. He takes on the same look, but now just the characters change. He had the slick back hair. He dropped the glasses. He adopted the toothpick with Razor, and Razor's introduced through a set of vignettes. I don't know exactly how many, but it was a bunch. And
There's on the DVD set. I think they put them all out, and I want to say I tried to watch them all, but some of them were just were repetitive, the same thing over and over. So I quit. I want to say there's 10, but it could be a couple more, couple less. But
there's a bunch. And
he's all over. He's in the nice car. He's at the restaurant, walking down the street.
He's portrayed as a heel, beating up the waiter for bringing him the check. He's like, you should be feeding me for free because I bring people to your restaurant. He's got all the chicas with him. In a different one, he says all the chicas love him, and he throws them away like trash or something because I don't know. He's just being very misogynistic, oozing machismo. Being fucking Razor Ramon, being a fucking badass. And,
my favorite, and I'm gonna butcher the Spanish, and I apologize, but
Razor Ramon butchered the Spanish with his whole thing. Go ahead.
No, he didn't. He was nailed. He nailed. It was like Scarface. No, but he was the El Jefe. Yeah, that's how you talk. Yeah, no, but El Jefe. When he broke that out, that was at the Chief or so. I don't know, that one there. When he broke that out, I was like, oh fuck! I remember seeing some of these. I got little flashbacks. I don't remember all of them, but some of them I was just like, oh, I do remember that. I a little 7-year-old Ryan watching this and oh shit, this guy's cool.
Yeah.
And then finding out that Vince McMahon was a Scarface fan and I could do Scarface. And next thing you know, Scott Hall's a Miami-born Mexican American.
Mm-hmm. And to be honest, I think what drew me to Razor was the Hispanic aspect of it. Them portraying Hispanic in a badass type of way. Me being 5 years old, 4 years old, and not really knowing what Scarface was at that age. So when I came into wrestling, my first memories were of Razor and seeing a Hispanic portrayed like that, or a portrayal of a Hispanic being a badass. And then that couldn't have been the only thing, because anyone could play Hispanic. It was his wrestling skills and the way he was able to tell a story in the ring, which would lead us into our first match, because 8 months into getting into the WWE, he has a WWF title shot against Bret Hart.
And not even a title shot, but his first title shot. Mm-hmm. He never fought for the Intercontinental, never had a tag team partner. He just was in singles competition, and they just bumped him from fighting like the jobbers. It's not like now where you put on Monday Night Raw and Seth Rollins is fighting Brock Lesnar in the main event. It was he fought like
So sorry if I.
Van yeah, he fought a guy like Norm Van Dale in like
Yeah,
his first
yeah,
match. Like he fought nobodies before he got this title shot. Like
yeah.
that's how good he was.
Sorry, and if I backtrack a little bit, I forget which. I think Crockett's organization, right before he went to WCW, was trying to make him the new Hulk Hogan. When Hogan left his promotion, they were trying to make
Oh
Hall
yes,
the next big thing, but Hall's like, it's too cold here. This promotion's going down. I'm taking off, and he went to WCW, and that's where he started his Diamond Stud persona and the birth of Razor Ramon. And
and
his debut match, I put the link up there too.
and
That's
you and
important.
you and you watch a lot of his early matches and watching him fight jobbers, and this is just just a very brief career retrospect that I'm going to give. Watching his AWA matches like a week or so ago, and then focusing on his matches this week, where I did kind of watch some of his jobbers, some of his title fights, some of his big fights, WWF, WCW, coming back into the WWE in the early 2000s. He had this thing where he never changed anything, and he went from babyface to heel to babyface to heel to babyface to heel through his entire career. Where you look at guys like Hogan and Ric Flair and John Cena, all these guys that had multiple heel turns, they had to change a lot about themselves. You watch Scott Hall; he changed nothing. The crowd just decided we like you,
Hmm.
and he was still arrogant and cocky when he was a good guy.
The first
He
race,
was
the first
he
Stone
he
Cold, bro.
he still talked shit about guys when he was a good guy. He
First
didn't
Stone Cold,
care.
bro.
Yeah, like you go back and you watch Razor Ramon in his early days in WWF, and you watch him forming the NWO and WCW. There's no change. You watch him right in the midst of his WWE run. You watch him in his AWA run. His moves are the same. He doesn't change a lot. He just kind of grew as a character, and the fans decided that they liked him or hated him. They cheered or they booed. It's a unique thing that not a lot of superstars can say
Tweener,
that.
a beautiful
Be
tweener.
Yeah.
So a couple, like maybe 2 weeks ago, I made a post. Who's your favorite heel? And
Oh
you
yeah.
named Triple H, and then you ultimately said Stone Cold. The reason
Yeah.
I didn't say Stone Cold, and I didn't say anything when you said Stone Cold, is to me Stone Cold's always been a tweener. Like I know he started off heel, but like after that match with Brett, he for always was I would say more popular than anything, and I know he was a tweener because he wasn't playing
Yeah.
the
And
face.
and that was a hard thing for me because I was actually looking for some feedback. Not that I'm mad that I didn't get
Yeah.
any, but because I was actually kind of curious what other people thought, because I always thought that Stone Cold, when I was cheering for Stone Cold back in 97, 98 at his height, when he was champion, he was running things in WWF, he was a bad guy, but he was a bad guy fighting other bad guys. He was like John Wick.
Hmm.
He was like Dexter. He was like the murderer murdering murderer. So like he's a good guy, but it's bad guy. So
Yeah.
it's kind of hard to tell like where do you rank, like you said, he's a tweener, but it's a very unique character trait that not a lot of guys can do. I mean, and even Stone Cold, when Stone Cold was bad, he talked a lot more shit than when he was a heel, a babyface heel. Even when he talked shit as a good guy, it wasn't as bad as when he was talking about Jake Roberts at King of the Ring. You know what I mean? Like he did tone it down a lot, and that's in an era when things were like no filter.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, this leads into our first match. Like I mentioned, Bret Hart versus Razor Ramon.
Razor, yeah. Royal Rumble, and this was actually had a big distinction because this was the first Royal Rumble where the Royal Rumble winner would face the champion.
Mm-hmm.
So the winner of this match would end up actually going on to face the winner of the Royal Rumble, which was kind of cool. You think about different possibilities. You could have, if you look at the final two in the Rumble and this match, you could have had Yoko, Brett, Yoko, Scott Hall, Randy, and Brett, Randy, and like there's like some interesting matchups that WWE could have played around with at that time.
Okay, so a little bit of back history. I did a little bit of history that I just read on my page and remembered it. So when Hall came in, his first angle was against Macho Man. He attacked him during a match, and it was Macho Man and Warrior versus Flair and
So
Hall. And
yeah, yeah.
Warrior actually held out on the company and didn't make it to his match at Royal Rumble. And Hall is the one that stepped in to face Brett at Royal Rumble.
If I can give actually just not to cut you off, if a quick interjection. If anyone is interested, go back to late '92 and go and watch Scott Hall's real big first angle was teaming with Perfect and Flair. Ooh, wee.
Sorry, Ryan, you didn't get to see it unless you're.
No, I did get to see it. But no, but Scott Hall's first angle was right into the main event with Macho Man and Flair, and then Macho Man and Ultimate Warrior, Mr. Perfect. There was like from SummerSlam to Survivor Series, there was a huge thing with Scott Hall where he just kind of jumped in and was just like main event status right off the bat, and he took it and ran with it, which you don't see a lot of guys get that opportunity, and you don't see a lot of guys actually pull it off the way that he did.
Yeah. No, and even though it's a losing effort for Razor Ramon, not all the matches we picked he wins, but it just goes to show you that Razor was not scared to do the job for anybody. He was willing to put anyone over, and
Yeah.
he was willing to put on a badass match, even though it was him losing. Razor Ramon is one of the greatest wrestlers to never win a heavyweight championship in professional wrestlers, if not the best ever to
No,
not win. Maybe Perfect.
I say Scott Hall, I don't know, like Mr. Perfect. I think he was too one-dimensional. Mr. Perfect couldn't do the face thing, whereas Scott Hall could do the face and the heel. I think Scott was an overall better competitor, not necessarily better athlete, but a better performer.
When you say the whole face heel thing, yeah, I could see why Hall
'Cause-
would take it in
yeah,
overall.
yeah,
Because they were both phenomenal. Like I don't think one's over on the other in wrestling.
and I always say that Mr. The actually I'd almost throw a third name in there would be Rick Rude.
Rick Rude.
But yeah, I would say the top two.
I think Rick Rude won the
Oh,
WCW World Heavyweight Championship.
he was the international champion.
Yeah.
I think we talked about that before. Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah,
The big gold one, which I prefer over the WCW.
over the
they
WCW title. Yeah,
they
that's
had
what
at
it
the
was.
time.
Technically NWA, but it was in the WCW banner. Yeah, that's true. But I got to say, watching this match, I say it's like 4.5 stars. The only complaint that I could ever take from this match was when Brett was in the bear hug and his arm dropped twice and he holds it up. He bites Scott Hall to get out of it. And at that point, Brett didn't have an ounce of heel in his body. He was so over that there was no need for him to bite. He could have done so many different ways to get out. I think the bite kind of just like took away from his character, and it allowed Bobby the Brain Heenan to rag on Bret Hart, where Gorilla Monsoon couldn't say anything positive in response.
See, I liked because it showed how he had to pull that off against such a big guy like Hall.
Any means necessary kind of thing.
Yeah, like this guy's too big. He's too fucking big. He keeps on focusing in my ribs. I need to do something to get out of this bear hug. He had me in a stretch earlier. He's just fucking up my ribs. I need to get out of this shit. But I understand what you're saying because he was 100% babyface. The beginning of the match,
yeah,
he gives the glasses to the kid in the front row.
Yeah,
And,
and then
and dude,
yes,
dude, this has got to be one of the
yes.
greatest things in wrestling,
Oh
and
my
it's the
god,
smallest things. So
to a
not
to
not not be
oh,
not even being like an aggressive heel about it. It's like, oh, you just gave your glasses to that guy, to that boy right there. I got something for you too, Chico. And he
yeah.
goes and he's like, hey, pulls a toothpick out like a badass and throws it at the kid.
And the best part is like that was the start of every match. It would have been Bret Hart. But in that instant, the fact that he went after the kid, you're like, oh fuck. And
Dude,
Stu and Helen are sitting right beside the kid.
dude,
Like it's so
his
good.
acting, dude, the acting that Hall does to it, because it's like, it's not like, hey, fuck you, the glasses, fuck you, I'm the distinct heel, and the no, it's his cool guy. Hey, you got him a gift, I got you a gift too, Chico. Boom.
And you know the other thing that you talk about the acting, you watch any Scott Hall match back in the WWE WWF days, whenever he took the gold chains off and he was the bat, he had to be a heel. When he was a face, it was whatever. But when he was a heel, it was always anything happen. If something happens to this gold, something happens to you.
Yeah.
And then he just hand it off and turn and walk away, and that was it.
His dude,
And like
it's his.
it didn't matter if the cameras were on him or not. You could watch even in this match. You
I
can see
I
him
pointed
leaning
it
and
out.
talking.
I
Like,
pointed it out every, like, on my sheets. Every time he did a toothpick throw, because he does it at the beginning of every single one of his matches, even
yep,
as Scott Hall. He
yeah,
does it.
oh yeah.
He
And
he's
I
not
I
letting it
don't
go.
remember him ever doing to a kid except for this match.
It was great, dude. It was one of
It
the
was so
best.
perfect.
It
I
was one of the
loved it.
best. I'm babyface. I'm heel. A distinct
It was
drawing of
yeah,
the lines, and just
so good.
in great fashion. Both doing their gimmicks up to the
And
best.
I'm so pissed off. I could go on like a 25-minute rant about WrestleMania 9 and even WrestleMania 10, despite the ladder match with him and Shawn. I could easily go off and say why starting at this Royal Rumble, they could have had an easy year and a half to 2-year run of Razor, Brett, Shawn with the strap. Even Diesel to an extent. Diesel, I never was really sold on the character Diesel. I love Kevin Nash, but as Diesel, I feel like he was just missing something.
Yeah, you're
But
100% right.
but Hogan and Yokozuna completely destroyed that 93, early 94 time frame. And I think Scott Hall not getting the title here, maybe WrestleMania 9, I mean, his Bob Backlund match was garbage. WrestleMania 10, I'm not taking anything away from Brett winning the title, Brett and Owen, Scott and HBK. But there was the oh god, this match was basically a 5-star match. Like I said, the only thing I did not like was that biting, because up to that point, Hogan, Macho Man, Ultimate Warrior, any face that was a champion would never have resorted to that. And to me, Brett was right on that same level of face of those guys that it wasn't. But like, I don't know. Like, I mean, everything about this match was so good. The storytelling, the back and forth, inside, outside. Brett not only working on one of Scott Hall's knees, but both.
Mm-hmm.
And how they talked about how much bigger he is, how long his legs are. Brett always cut down the guys by one knee. Here, he went back and forth. I don't know if it was an accident and he started on the left, went to the right, then back to the left. I don't know if it was on purpose, whatever. I thought it was brilliant.
Yeah, like you mentioned, Brett's working on his knees. Razor's working on Brett's ribs to get rid of his air, so he's got no gas. Let's see. Brett gets some offense in, tries the sharpshooter. Razor uses the ropes to get away from them. Kind of teasing
The ref too.
yeah. They kind of get the ref tangled up in there, because he's fighting to try to get him pulled off the ropes, and then the ref gets in there. They get a little tangled. I wanted to point out a back suplex that Brett does off the second rope. That was pretty fucking sick.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was where he I don't know what Razor was going for, but Brett kind of just like went backwards and did a badass suplex.
Yeah,
It was
like it was one of the first times I've actually seen like a big man sell that well.
that's why he's so good, and he's not really
You,
thought of as being that big. He's like 6'7", 6'8",
I
man.
was gonna, going like some of the matches that you picked, I was like, oh, that's a different one. I wonder why I picked that. And then I watched him versus big men, him versus small men,
Hmm.
and then I even like just put on some random matches besides like the Shawn Michaels Bret Hart. I put on some matches of him versus like Ric Flair, Ric Flair and that, and like he could compete against a lot of guys, and you didn't realize how tall and how big he was. You would think that he was 6'1", 6'2", and he was just as big as these guys. He was like an inch shorter and like 20 pounds lighter than Kevin Nash. And that's
Hmm.
ridiculous to think that Kevin Nash is a giant and Scott Hall isn't, quote
Hmm.
unquote.
Yeah, he would always call him the big man, and he would always call himself the medium-sized man,
Yeah.
even though he was just as big. um, yeah, pretty much they have a good back and forth match. Both guys display their talents. Razor being the bigger guy, using his strength, and Brett being the more technical of the two. It starts off really brawly. Even Brett is brawling with Razor, giving him the advantage in the beginning.
Yeah, and I
And
love seeing a good Bret Hart brawl. Like when you see like with the guys like Stone Cold and that, like when Bret Hart had to brawl, you could see like a different aspect of his abilities that you didn't see often enough, that it's almost like you appreciated when he broke it out.
yeah, and then from there it led into him interjecting more of his offense, but more slams. And then he started using more of his aerial offense off the second rope with a hammer fist. He did, I think, a splash. He also did a suicide dive to the outside to
Yeah.
gain some offense. Brett was really displaying his whole arsenal here against the bigger, stronger Mang. And eventually it led to Brett using the more technical finish, leading from a cradle. He rolled him up in a cradle, and Razor gets out of it, but the legs are still held by Brett, and he locks in a sharpshooter.
But even, sorry to cut you off, how he rolled him into that was
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Like how Brett's on his back and Scott Hall's got the legs, and Brett like as Scott Hall's leaning forward, Brett grabs him by the belly and pulls him. And it's almost like a little somersault where Bret Hart's sitting up and Scott Hall just uses Brett's body to like slide down. It was such a unique finish, like to get into that pinning position. Like it was almost refreshing to watch something like that.
Yeah, and a nice submission victory, finishing off Scott Hall in his first heavyweight championship match.
One of two,
Yeah, one of
unbelievable.
two in his whole
And, we,
career.
and we've actually broken both of them down here
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we just did the
on
other
the
one.
Full Heel podcast.
That's on our favorite matches. Yeah, so me and you discussed that we're gonna do, we'll do whatever the hell we want, depending on
Well,
what we'll do.
Brett will definitely be talked about someday.
Yeah,
I can
but
almost guarantee that.
we'll keep on doing, depending. Next is whoever Ryan wants to do, but after that, I think we should put out some polls and see if we can get some votes going to see what people want. Who they want us to break down?
FHP group, man, like step your game up. Like 3 votes, man. I'm
Yeah.
trying to, like, to get a discussion topic for the podcast, and we get 3 votes.
Yeah,
Like,
it's a quick
and
click.
and one was you, one was me. So Corey Pelche was the only one that I think gave us an actual vote.
Yeah. No, I think Regan Lambo.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know for sure that I saw you and Corey.
I think
And
there might have been 4 votes then.
okay, but still, like, come on, guys, step
Yeah.
your game up.
Step it up. It's all about the game and how you
Yeah.
play it. Where were we?
We just finished Royal Rumble '93.
Yeah, which would lead us into the whole 1-2-3 Kid versus Razor Ramon. A little bit of a feud. There's a link in there where it shows 1-2-3 Kid pinning Razor Ramon. So he was the Kid first, pinned Razor, the crowd started calling him 123 Kid. He ran
Well,
with
he
it.
was actually. If you watch the match, I didn't realize this, that he wasn't only the kid. He was like he had like 3 or 4 I guess he changed his name every single week
Mm-hmm.
before he settled on 1, 2, 3. That like, but I didn't realize that he changed his name every single week of something kid, something kid, something kid.
Yeah, and
Before this,
after this, 123 Kid stuck with the name, and let's see. This led to him offering 123 Kid money to face him. Again, to redeem himself. He wanted to redeem himself because people were making fun of him. Wrestlers were making fun of him. The crowd would chant 123 all the time. 123 Kid didn't want to do it till it got to $10,000. I think 123 Kid. Oh, so 123 Kid during that match, he faced him for the $10,000 and was supposed to get the same style of victory, but
oh
when he
yeah,
went for he went for an outside move, he actually hit his head on concrete and gave himself a concussion. Didn't get the 3 count. Ran away with the money, thinking he had gotten the 3 count, and which this feud leads to Razor gaining respect for 123 Kid, and they eventually form into a tag team throughout Razor's 4 years in WWF.
WWF.
Yeah, they're definitely friends. They're in the clique, but this is what leads to their
Yeah, and actually,
tag team.
a good documentary. If you have the chance to check out the Click Rules, that it's WWE Productions, blah blah blah. But they actually include a lot of the matches that they had as rivals, and then how the team formed and what they did going forward as a team, like facing, other Click members and Diesel and Sean. But they also fought they fought for the titles here and there. They went out there and they actually had a lot of pretty fun matchups. And it's the kind of tag team that I like. They almost reminded me of the Hart Foundation. Scott playing the role of the Anvil and Kid playing the role of Brett, with the big tough guy and the more athletic, agile competitor as well.
It made sense, bro.
Yeah. And they worked so good, like that in that match when Kid pins Ramon. Early on, Razor Ramon throws him, and he literally threw him like 3 quarters across the ring, and you're like, God damn, like these guys knew each other so well, and you can tell that they had practiced a lot because of how smooth everything went. I mean, the moonsault finish. I wish that maybe they had not been in a direct 69. Maybe maybe they could have like rolled the legs off to the side a little bit.
It's fine, Ryan.
I guess 93 is a different time frame. It was 26 years ago.
What's wrong with a little bit of dong in your face?
I mean, the Bronco Buster was an integral part of Sean Waltman's arsenal.
I do hate north-south position. It's not fun. It's not a preferred position of mine.
You're giving out now all your disadvantages to your potential opponents.
To my niece?
Well, no, when you get in that
no, because I was about to say, giving out the secrets to a girl. Come on, Ryan. Be real here.
Well, her podcast has been shut down.
She'll be very skilled and she'll be a killer. But I will always have a bigger bone structure, and I am a male and I have testosterone. That will always trump. Well, I have skills as well. The skills on top of that, so that's gonna trump. It's gonna trump what she knows. Sorry.
I don't know. There's a lot of women I know that could kick my ass.
Yeah, but if you knew a little bit of jiu-jitsu,
true.
It erased that.
Yeah.
But I don't beat up women without consent.
Yeah, I was waiting for that, but
without consent. If they want it, they want it. If they're asking for it, come on. No, I haven't beat up my niece. I gave her a couple kidney shots though. She's not holding the pads up right.
It's on her.
Yeah, it's on her.
Why do you have a black eye? I wasn't holding pads.
I'm tired.
Yeah. Uncle Raph said.
So there's no complaining. Nah, you guys can ask her. I'll see if she ever wants to be on the podcast. I don't think I can though. So she's 18. We'll see. We'll see. You guys probably see her story in the UFC one day. She won't have to
Oh,
be.
fine. We have a 2-year-old on the podcast every single time. We can get a 15-year-old to say hey.
Yeah, but I have to have. I might be able to take legal guardianship soon.
Oh.
Yeah, I could probably take legal guardianship soon. Because she's still only 15. That's if her father doesn't want to.
Right.
I would be willing to step up. Get a nice little tax cut if you know what I'm saying.
You can hear the IRS.
No, well, legally she would be my.
We were
my
listening
guardian.
to an episode a couple years back you recorded, sir.
It would all be legal, all right, Ryan? Just like this marijuana brought to you by insert sponsor in 2020. Hint, hint. Weed companies. I smoke a lot. That's all.
And Wellington Brewery.
I could just buy a case and send that to you, or have it ordered from Canada or something.
No, this is the good stuff. This is from Guelph. This is a special little craft place to go to.
Look at this guy over here.
Ah, this is my sourdough beer.
Nice.
Oh yeah.
Nice with that
It's
sourdough.
The tin was dented, so it was free. My buddy goes, here, I can't sell. It's dented.
Yeah.
Okay. 24 beers because one tin was dented. Well, if I have to.
Yeah. So that career leads with him, and it's sorry. Just moving on without saying anything and being a jerk.
That's all good.
We kind of skipped over Rick Martel. That's the match I picked. So it would be for Razor's first ever Intercontinental Championship with the WWF. It's for a vacant Intercontinental Championship. Your boy Shawn Michaels was caught for steroids. He was suspended from the company, but that's not really what was said.
There's a lot. Like I just heard a podcast talk about the whole background story, and I knew a little bit of what happened, but like fuck, Sean was just like, I'm out. You can't suspend me. I'm going home then. We want the belt. Fuck you. You're not getting the belt.
Yeah, he was being a bitch.
Yeah.
He was super difficult. He's one of the reasons Vader didn't make it in WWF. But that's Vader's career, and that's Shawn. Rick Martel and Shawn for the first belt. As a result of the 20-man battle royal, the last two men were going to face off for the vacant championship. Rick the Model Martel, clearly smaller than Razor Ramon. A lot smaller.
I like this too because going into this match, Rick Martel, I always loved the Model. I always thought he was a good competitor going back to his days with Tito Santana and Strikeforce. He was one of those guys that I never saw winning the heavyweight title, but he was just one of those, the big boss man, Jake the Snake, a fun guy to watch, and to see him in this kind of match, you could see like maybe they would have given him the title. He is a good mid-carder. That's who gets the title. But now as you get older and you realize that the titles are stepping stones, Intercontinental leads to heavyweight and main event status. Obviously, you can kind of see who was going to get the win.
Yeah.
But Scott, again in this match, man, sold. He took a beating.
He knows how to have a wrestling match, dude. So they know how to tell the story in this one. They're going to use Rick Martel's speed and agility versus Razor Ramon being the bigger, stronger guy.
Very, very similar to the previous match we talked about.
Yeah.
But the only difference being that now Razor's the good guy. So speed and agility is being used as a cheating method as opposed to size being used as the cheating method. which is kind of cool to see the exact same match in a way reversed.
Yeah, yeah. Razor actually has, well, like we said, he puts on a badass match. He sells. He's struggling against Rick Martel. Rick Martel taunts a lot, allowing Razor to get into the match. We'll get reversals in at times, but every time Rick Martel reverses, he goes for his jumping jacks. He goes for his taunts, and Rick Martel is being more of the heel in this match than Razor Ramon because it's a heel on heel thing right now. So Rick Martel uses the ropes to gain leverage over Razor. He's threatening the ref. You know, he's just being an asshole throughout the match. And Razor, like I said, he's too slow, and this guy's using his speed and agility to get over on Razor, using the ropes to run the ropes to avoid Razor's punches. It's a good story told by both men.
Yeah, and like I don't even know. Like, there were so many points where you could see Razor being a heel, but he's trying to hold that face persona. So you would be like, "Oh, here's him. He's dirty."
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no! Like, you forget that he's a babyface because he still has that arrogant cockiness that I talked about before. Like, why he's such a good face heel intertwined, because you could see here he's going to do something very dirty, but instead he doesn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
Or if he does something like kind of like, kick in the groin or like slap the hair when the model's trying to stand up, the fans start to cheer.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh shit, like they booed him. Now they're like, it was a really cool thing to see the transition for him, because he had a couple matches for the IC belt against Sean where, disqualification, count out, he never got a pinfall over the champion, and now here he is fighting for the title, but it's not against Sean, it's against another heel though, and this guy's too quick. And when Shawn Michaels was too quick, he would cheat to keep the belt. Model can't do that. When Brett was too quick, he was the good guy, so he'd have to finish the fight. But here, the model's too quick, but he's the bad guy, so he can't get the belt yet.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of like how's he gonna do it? How's Scott gonna come back? And the one thing I took away from watching all of the matches was that fall-away slam, and how he used it in different aspects. Sometimes it would be right off the gate, boom, hit it.
Yeah.
Sometimes it would be in the midst of his onslaught. Sometimes it was he's getting his ass kicked. Someone's gonna fly through the ropes. He catches them, and now he's in recovery. He actually utilized, I think, the fall-away slam better than any one of his holds or any of his maneuvers, because of the fact that it's almost like the RKO. He would hit it out of nowhere,
and it even led into the Razor's Edge a bunch of times.
Yeah. And that second rope bulldog that he could hit sometimes. Whoa, hey!
He did that all the time too.
Just came in here like Kramer. What's going on, buddy?
Can you bring it to mommy?
Okay, Connor. Hey, and number 2. Say hi to Raph.
Hi,
Hi. How's it going?
Raph says, "How's it going?" Here. You want to talk? Here, 2 seconds. Ready?
Hi.
Hi.
Oh. Here, push it. Here. All right, now go.
Hey, do you think wrestling's stupid?
Hi, Raph.
Hi.
Hey, listen, he's asking a question. Ready?
Do you like wrestling?
Yeah.
What?
What did you say when Daddy said, "Let's come watch wrestling and sit down on the couch"? What did you say?
No.
Yeah, that's right. You said no. That's what I thought. Yeah, Mommy taught you well.
I still like wrestling.
But you still like wrestling because I like wrestling?
Yeah.
Oh, she was going for the lockup right there.
Yeah. Okay, guys. Ready? Go get some ice cream.
Ooh,
Ice cream.
I want some ice cream.
That's your problem. Oh, what do you want? You want? Oh, okay. Your turn too. Oh. Okay, ready, buddy?
Connor, what's going on, Connor?
Where's your ear? What's your hair? Okay.
Hi, Connor.
Hi.
What's going on,
Say-
buddy?
Hi.
What do you know about Rick Martel?
Do you like Rick
Model.
Martel?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What? Over
But
Razor? Oh
What
my
did?
God!
Yeah. What did Daddy tell you about Rick Martel? Rick Martel, where was he born? Same place as who?
want
Daddy.
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 Odo.
Yeah,
Odo.
Montreal. Rick Martel's from the same place as Daddy.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's your lesson for today. Okay, you gonna go see Mommy?
Yeah.
Okay, bye, Bubby.
Bye, daddy.
Oh, there goes all the headphones are gone.
I want ice cream though.
Go get your ice cream.
I'm gonna go downstairs and see if there's ice cream.
Oh, we don't have ice cream. I'm just giving Kara a hard time now.
Oh. No, I want ice cream. You're giving everyone a hard time, right?
Yeah. Not me.
I think
I'm good.
It's early enough for me to go buy some though.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Yeah, the show's done, guys.
Show's over, guys. Right. Yeah. So then he had a happily ever after.
And then he was inducted to the Hall of Fame, and good night.
Yeah, that's the end. He has a badass reversal from a Boston Crab, goes into the pin. The pin is reversed into another pin. And he's struggling to gain momentum against Rick Martel. But it leads into him muscling up Rick Martel into, which is very impressive, the pure strength.
Yeah.
He lifts him up and Rick Martel kind of stops him. He doesn't go with it. So, and it's clearly done like that. He muscles him up and puts him in the fucking Razor's Edge and fucking does the Razor's Edge and gets the
And at first, I thought when he lifted him up, it was one of those situations where he lifted and just like didn't have the full grip, but you could actually tell that it was supposed to show the beating that he had been in, like the abdominal issues from being in the Boston Crab earlier, being worn down throughout the matchup. So yeah, like he sold the injury or the wear and tear rather perfectly while he's about to win the match, which you don't necessarily see that often. And one thing about this match that I actually noticed a lot in his in some of his wins was he could be on the offense and then 5-7 minutes of getting his ass kicked, and then out of nowhere hit one move and say, "Fuck, it's done." And he's like, "Yo, what? I'm not playing anymore." Hit it and that's it. And this is the perfect example. It was like, not necessarily back and forth. I want to say the model probably had a little bit more offense, but when the end came, it's over. Here it comes, and that was it.
Yeah, beautiful.
And he looks pretty good with that IC title around his waist.
Yeah, dude. I wish he would have had the heavyweight at some point, but the IC will have to do, especially the weight. Around that time, it still had the weight it had. He was probably on his way to being a heavyweight champion.
Oh, if I mean,
left.
there's so many cards on the table, but back in '96, when that contract was due, he did not want to leave. And I know we're probably going to touch on that in a little bit, but he wanted to stay, but he wanted the money. And Vince said, "Okay, how about this? But this." And he said, "Well, they're giving me this and this."
Yeah, just give me some time off, man. That's all I need for my family.
And he would have been him with that Gold Eagle title around his waist, man. Him, Sid, Diesel, Undertaker, Shawn, Brett, Davey Boy. It would have been some fun times, man.
Yeah, so my video links are probably a little bit out of order. Just this one, the Hall and Walter Payton is next versus Diesel and Shawn Michaels. Two cool dudes, all right? Two cool dudes. That's the tag team name. For Diesel's Intercontinental Championship. So
now, okay, can I ask you a quick question?
Yes. No.
When they came out, did you think that Diesel was Intercontinental Champion? Because Shawn has a title and Diesel has a title.
Yeah.
But Sean's got a tag team title, and Diesel, like, if you do a quick glance, you're like, okay, the tag team champions.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're like, it's really, well, who's the champion?
Yeah,
Razor doesn't have a title. Diesel has the tag title with Sean. If they didn't announce Diesel as being the Intercontinental champion and you didn't notice what title he was holding in his hand, like, what, like, come on, man. At least give him the second title, man.
yeah, they should have. I don't know why they didn't.
Can I, before we talk about this one, can I just quickly backtrack to WrestleMania 10?
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. I'm like, good thing you
Oh,
stopped me.
okay.
I'm like, so this is actually part of a bigger feud between. So it started off with Sean being champion, him vacating, Razor gaining the championship, Sean coming back with the championship, proclaiming him to being still the champion because he never lost it, which leads into one of the greatest matches of all time, not only of WrestleMania history, not only of ladder match history, but
Oh,
of
like,
all
yeah.
time.
Easily, I would, and I went back and I watched this one that night there when I had messaged you, which kind of got me on the track of wanting to do this show, because I've watched this match a million times over, but honestly, I can say I think I actually truly sat down and watched this match for the first time last week, and I knew the outcome, I knew the high spots, I knew so much about it, but I sat down and, the wife's gone, kids are gone, dog's sleeping, nighttime, no one's knocking on my door, no disturbances. And I sat down and I just, like, my phone, I put it away, like nothing was going to bother me. And I got a whole new respect for this match. I thought Owen and Brett stole WrestleMania 10. No. This match is 25 times better than that. This match is so ridiculous. It's so good.
Yeah, and it's so good, their ladder usage, their pacing of it, how they use it, the different styles of how Razor would use it compared to Sean. I broke it down with
Is that
Jesus.
Jesus?
Yeah, and I had done WrestleMania 10 maybe the first year.
Which,
The first year.
maybe.
I don't know, man. I don't know, to be honest, but yeah, no, it's an incredible match. You guys should go check out episode, whatever the favorite matches with Jesus is, 103, around there. I don't know. You guys figure it out. Yeah, I broke that shit down. It was an awesome match. I sat down, watched it like 3 or 4 times, and took notes on it. So they have their match, which leads into a similar match of them on the ladder. Pretty much a repeat of it, where Sean wins this time.
Right.
Then Diesel
With
gets. I forget how Diesel gets it.
Diesel beats Razor. Razor. Well. Okay. So, WrestleMania 10, Razor Ramon beats Sean. He loses it to Diesel. Then at SummerSlam, where, well, I mean, spoiler alert, but it's like fucking 23 years ago, people. 25 years ago. Razor beats Diesel, and that sets up Survivor Series where they'd have the rematch. And you want to talk about the magic of WrestleMania 10? Go back and watch the second ladder match and watch the shit show. It was good, don't get me wrong. But when you see how hard it is to pull off a truly remarkable ladder match, watch both Sean and Razor back to back and see the difference in what they can do. Because you can see that these guys, same abilities, same match, complete opposite match. There's so many mistakes, sloppiness here and there. Just, like, sometimes it takes that little bit of magic to make the match. And sometimes the magic's not there because it's already been done.
Yep.
But in this match, though, like, fuck, man, you just see like you could like again I talked about with the 1-2-3 kid match. You can tell these guys travel together, train together, practice together. You could see how smooth they made it look,
And how
and
Razor's able to sell now for a bigger guy.
finally he's up against a guy who's bigger than him, and he has to overcome the height advantage. He's not being chopped down; he's being like pushed around, and that's so weird. And I'm gonna like one of the biggest flashbacks that I got from watching or from preparing for this episode is I didn't realize how much I missed that old school wrestling mentality of seeing a wrestler on the outside being the manager, interfering in matches, and then also having the celebrity guy and the celebrity's not involved in the match. He's
He's
just
enforcer,
standing.
bro.
He's just standing there, like
Yeah.
I mean, he did nothing. He was it was cool. You know, they were in Chicago. Walter Payton, you got to do what you got to do, but it wasn't Lawrence Taylor fighting Bam Bigelow. It was just a football player hanging out on the outside to make sure that Sean did nothing. But Sean still did everything. So many
Mm-hmm.
like Walter Payton would quote unquote distract the referee trying to help Razor, which allowed Sean, to jump on the stairs really smoothly and do like a flying clothesline, or grab Razor's hair and hold him, choking him on the rope so that Diesel could do like the on the rope leg drop. Like a lot of good
The pad.
tactic. Yeah, like the turnbuckle exposure, like, and the referee trying like there's if you want to see a lot of real good old school wrestling and want to see why wrestling, I don't want to say is bad now, but it's not as good as it was, just go back and watch the matches that Raph has the links up to, because you see things that you don't see nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
And even though you
know what's
see
a
these,
big thing that I didn't really appreciate or pay attention to that Austin always emphasizes? Match pace. Match pace.
yeah,
Match pace. These guys are too fast nowadays. They
yep,
don't sell as much as they should. They need to absorb the moment more. They need to
hmm
they need to do they need to appreciate the silence in between shit instead of wanting the pop 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 pop.
yeah, you don't have to do suplex off the top rope, then a top rope flying maneuver, then another top rope flying maneuver, then a submission. Like you can hurt yourself doing that top rope suplex. Like you can also lay there, and you see like even in this match, like Scott Hall doing a back body drop to Diesel after getting some damage done. When he dropped Diesel, he would lay there
Mm-hmm.
and he would sell the fact that he's like, okay, you're back in it now. What's next? Take your breaths. What's next? Like, and a lot of like Diesel. Kevin Nash was not the most athletic big guy.
Hey, dude, he was the original 5 moves of death. The
Yeah.
original. Knee to the gut in the corner. Big boot. Jackknife power bomb.
Sidewalk slam.
Yeah.
And was it the fist? Was it?
I don't know what else it was.
He had.
It was another move.
He
I
had.
don't know what it was.
Yeah. I don't like these like I don't like, but you could see like him and Scott Hall, they worked so well together.
Yep.
And a lot of it did have to do with Sean on the outside. A lot of it had to do with Sean exposing the turnbuckle, Sean distracting the referee, Sean grabbing Razor's foot, like even down to how the match ends with the trying to clock him with the title. Oh, look, ref, Walter Payton's got the title.
Yeah.
Sweet chin
The
music
title
to the wrong guy.
Yeah.
Sean was involved in this match 1,000% from the entrance, even to the walkout when Diesel was chasing him away.
Yeah. And so you mentioned the big boot, or not the big boot, the sweet chin music.
Yeah.
Diesel gets hit with, because Diesel's holding Razor, while the ref is distracted with the title and Peyton on the side, and like I said, Diesel's holding Hall. Hall escapes. Nash gets hit with the sweet chin music, and then does that just lead to the pin?
Yeah, it's sweet shit music, and then Sean does his little. Oh my god, I can't believe I hit the wrong guy. Now
Yeah.
I have to leave the ring, and this is like the
Because it was a
classic.
while. I thought about it. I'm like, wait, did he do anything else? Because it was a while
Yeah,
before he went for the pin.
and it's that it takes me back to watching old videos of like 70s wrestling when the heel would hit his partner, and instead of beating up the babyface and getting a DQ victory for the babyface over his partner, just dips out of the ring and lets his partner take the fall.
Mm-hmm.
Like he could have easily attacked Razor and Diesel wins or keeps his title because he would lose by DQ, but instead, dip out Razor 1, 2, 3, and that was it.
Can't
But
get caught, bro.
but you can see in some of these matches that Razor Ramon was not going to be able to pick guys up and do the outsider's edge. It's not the RKO, it's not the FU, the Razor's edge, the outsider's edge, whatever you want to call it. It's a very unique move that you have to be in a certain weight class to be able to take it.
A lot of incline bench.
you gotta figure out how to end a match if you can't pick a guy up, right?
That's such a good way to fuck up your shoulders. Is picking up something so heavy that way, like that.
Oh yeah.
Trying to hold it up like that. Oh no, wait.
That is the only reason why I don't lift weights.
Dude,
that is the only reason.
I would be able to do 300 on chest for 1 rep at least, but I could do 285, 5 reps, 3 sets, both incline and decline.
Nah, I don't even want to think of that.
Sorry, not incline. Sorry, decline and regular bench. Incline, dude. Oh my god, I couldn't do over 180, or maybe I could do 185. Maybe for reps, but like I couldn't get over 205, and I felt like a little bitch. I'm not gonna lie.
I don't even want to think about even attempting it. Like that, none of that sounds fun.
It's fun if you can do it.
Is
Not
it
anymore, to be honest? No, because I've gotten to that point like where I hit that, but then I did MMA and I'm like, oh, okay, that's pointless unless you know how to use the muscles and know how to do stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So now I just work out for functionality instead of looks. Instead of, hey, look at this. Instead of aesthetics, they're for functionality. If I'm ever in danger, my muscles, I just need to activate them. I can jump in action like a fucking cheetah, like Brian Callen.
Yeah. Keep it stored in you, right? All that energy.
Yeah. So that the day I need to, papa. What match was next? So Razor's career wouldn't really get higher than this.
Yeah, I
match
don't want to
versus
say,
Diesel.
I don't want to say stagnant, but when he comes out for the match against Vader, right? Braun two, what? Yeah.
This would be the Vader match next year.
Yeah, so the match against Vader, they talk about how he's a 4-time Intercontinental Champion and the first man to hold it that many times. And the reason for that is because a lot of times after you won the belt twice, you were either out of the company or a heavyweight champion.
He was the first 3-time as well.
First
ever 3-time Intercontinental Champion.
I think he has the second most reigns after Jericho, because Jericho's got 9. Maybe. Nah, Jericho, I think he's got 9. I think Scott Hall's second.
Dude, The Miz got 7.
Who?
The Miz.
Oh, The Miz. Okay, yeah, you're right. Yeah, so Razor would be third then.
Yeah, but Razor had won it while in WWF at a house show, because of a mistake done by, I forgot who, Jarrett later on, I think, or Michael. Someone missed a cue, but he had to get it because he was on the ladder already. But yeah, like you mentioned, this was really the highest he would ever get. He does get stagnant. He's still with his tag team of 1-2-3 Kid throughout his career. He only lasts 4 years there before he asks for more money. He gets
A lot,
the big bucks.
and a lot of fun too. Though, like he had some amazing. Like one of the matches I really, really wanted to talk about was the Royal Rumble match against Jeff Jarrett or the WrestleMania match against Jeff Jarrett. Because those were two amazing matches, and like if you guys can go and check them out, because he wins by DQ at WrestleMania, and he had lost the title previously at the Royal Rumble. But like Jeff Jarrett, I like Jeff Jarrett, but honestly, he's a guy that I feel like he got over because people put him over, and Scott Hall put him over hardcore in that 3-4 month time frame. Scott Hall made chicken salad or chicken shit a lot of times with him. And you watch those matches and you're like, God, like, come on, look what he's making Jeff Jarrett look like a world killer. Give him the title. Give him a couple extra bucks. Give him Saturdays off, whatever he wants. Keep him. Like, it's so frustrating to watch some of these matches and think, how did you not keep him?
Yeah, they should have paid him or given him the time off that he wanted, but that did not happen. And before leaving though, he does put in a awesome match with Vader, selling for a way better big man, even though he's way fatter than Nash. Vader put on in my opinion, put on a way better match with Hall than Nash did. So Vader Hall better than Nash Hall or Razor Diesel.
Yeah, like it was really interesting watching him against like a big guy like this. Like to actually see him go up there, like because you're thinking like, okay, well if he wins, how's he gonna hit the Razor's Edge? You're thinking, how is he gonna keep him down? Vader's such a big guy. In order to beat Vader, you had to be just as big, or you had to win by DQ. And you kind of knew that Scott Hall being the good guy, they might give him a DQ win, but it's also Vader, who was also over at the time. They want to give him the win, so they want to make it look as legit as possible, because to the fans, they don't know necessarily that Razor's on his way out. They just know that Razor's a legit guy, number one contender at times. Vader's up there, number one contender at times. Like something's got to give. And fuck, like Scott took a beating, but he would always come back, always come back, always come back.
Yeah, this whole match, he's definitely given the power advantage to Vader. Gets beat up a bunch, takes hard hits, hard slams. Everything.
Yeah, he took some heavy clotheslines too.
Everything is stiff, man. Everything is stiff from Vader. I've always heard Vader's a stiff worker.
Well, you go back and you watch some of those clotheslines. Normally, the guys would swing their arm fully. He just would you could see as he swings his arm, he would tense up his shoulder and just really drive the muscle into it was like.
Oh no, this is old school wrestling, man. These are two.
These are two AWA guys.
Yeah, they're going.
These aren't WWF guys.
Yeah, they're not. These are bumps. They're taking bumps.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
So Razor sells for Vader a lot of the match to begin with. Once Razor gets a little bit of offense going, he tosses Vader out with a clothesline, but Vader resets the match by staying outside. Goes back in, splashes Razor on the corners. He catches Razor while he's tossing him from corner to corner. He splashes Razor against it. Hits Razor with the Vader bomb. Razor kicks out of the first one. And
that was actually, I kind of found that to be surprising. I didn't think they would actually let Razor kick out. I thought, he's leaving. We're gonna give him the loss, Vader bomb, 1, 2, 3 kind of thing. But when he kicked out, I was like, oh damn! Like they're actually gonna make this go a little bit longer. Like, all right, let's go. Yeah. that's where I thought, okay, maybe they're gonna give him the victory.
Yeah. After that, Vader starts some more offense. One of the spots I wanted to point out is Vader jumps from, I don't know if it's the second or top rope, but I think it's a top rope. He jumps at Hall, and Hall does a what would be a scoop slam if Vader was on the floor, but he catches him kind of in midair and goes along with it and slams him like a very, very
Yeah,
It
yeah.
was pretty awesome. It was
It
awesome.
was, yeah.
For the size of these two guys to be tossing around each other like that, like, well, who else could do it but Hall on fucking on Vader? Like, who else would be able to do it on Vader? Maybe Brock
Maybe
Lesnar.
Nash. But Nash is
Nash is too lazy to be like,
Yeah, he's like, you know what? Nah. Yeah, I think Lesnar, Strowman, but now you're talking guys who are like 50, 60 pounds heavier than Hall. Like Hall's a big guy, but he's not jacked.
Dude, he was so cut, like, for his size.
Yeah, he was. And it's funny too, like watching Scott perform a lot of these maneuvers against a guy like Vader. I was trying to figure it in my head because this was actually the first time I'd ever saw this match. So I was trying to see how I saw this match ending, and all I could think of was, well, it has to be he goes for the moonsault because Vader does the moonsault, and either he slips or he gets knocked down onto the top rope, and he does the lazy version of the outsider's edge, if you would. Like just take him while he's on the rope and drop him. And fuck, they almost gave it to us.
Yeah.
They
He
almost
was teasing it.
gave it to us.
But the finish is Razor goes for the Razor's Edge, gets reversed by Vader pretty much. It's like this. He's bent over and he throws Hall over and kind of just, boom, sits on him. 1, 2, 3 for Vader, and that is Vader time.
And I gotta say, like, Scott Hall's last pay-per-view in WWE, WWF, whatever, before he jumps to WCW, it kind of made me sad that they were so petty to have it be just a sit down. Poof, 1, 2, 3. I wish they would have just said, like, you know what, they're gonna, like, I feel like that was like they were saying, like, you know what, you're not even gonna get the finisher. It's just gonna be a little drop, 1, 2, 3.
Mm-hmm.
And that I was just like, come on, Vince.
Should have gotten the Vader bomb.
At least a power bomb, Vader bomb. There was a couple things you could have done, like, after that, to like say, oh, well, here was the turning point, and here's how it ended. But I mean, it is what it is, right?
So Scott Hall eventually leaves WWE, brings Nash with him. They form the NWO at Bash at the Beach, 1996. The third man.
Check out the archive.
Yeah, check out our previous episodes. We just did Bash at the Beach. Me and Ryan covered it, and then me and Jesus did the night after for our anniversary special.
It was okay.
Yeah.
It was missing some Canadian content, but whatever.
Canadian.
We love you, Jesus.
He hasn't hit me up to do an episode, so
fuck you, Jesus.
Yeah, so suck my dick, Jesus. Outsiders. Well, this would lead us into Outsiders versus Harlem Heat. So it would be the Outsiders' first title opportunity. I don't think they had any title opportunities before this.
Yeah, no, and that's the thing. I was excited because I know that they fought the Steiners and they came out with fake titles, and they fought Harlem Heat, and in both cases they won. Mm-hmm. So I went back and I was like, okay, which one was their first title reign? Because I wanted to see them win the title for the first time, and I was kind of familiar with this match with Harlem Heat because of it was Scott Hall's Hall of Fame match on WWE 2K16. So I kind of knew the match because I played it on PlayStation. Mm-hmm. And I was just kind of curious to see how it would play out. So I was actually really excited to watch this match. And Stevie Ray, Booker T, Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, Sister Sherry.
I thought it'd be a longer match, to be honest.
Yeah. I
And
thought
the
I thought they could have done more. I thought they could have done more.
yeah, the ending ruined it. To be honest, not gonna lie.
Yeah, I love the outsiders NWO cheat to win tactic, but at the same time, it's like,
But why was the ref?
uh,
Why?
why why is the
Well,
ref pushing Booker T out of the ring?
for 3 minutes.
Yeah, 2 cane shots, and Scott Hall's able to roll onto. Yeah, they're like they
It's too
could.
long.
Yeah, and the match was. It's one of those matches that you think, like how I said Bret Hart was a 5-star match
You know me.
minus the biting.
Mm-hmm.
This was a 4-star match, I would say, minus the finish. It's probably a 2.5-star match because the finish just hurt so. Harlem Hangover, like we talked about it before, and I couldn't remember ever seeing Booker T hit it in a match.
Mm-hmm. Oh, dude.
And so when I saw Hall take it, I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah, no, dude. Harlem Hangover is no joke. They always get hit in the face
Yeah.
by a boot. It always goes. It always slaps you in the face.
Yeah. So like when you see that, you're like, oh, like and Scott Hall, how I can't emphasize this enough. It's something that is used perfectly in wrestling. It's not overdone because it should never be overdone. And it's something where these guys talk about it in the background. And if one guy says no, it doesn't happen. When Scott Hall spit on Stevie Ray and then turns around and tags in Kevin Nash and says, him and you. He's like, I'm going to spit on you, but I'm getting out of the ring.
Yeah.
How heel was that? That's so brilliant. It worked so well. And Stevie Ray, Stevie Ray only took that spit because of how well it was going to sell the matchup.
Mm-hmm.
It was so great.
Yeah, that's pretty fucked up though.
Oh, I would never. The only other time I think a spit worked well was when Randy Orton did Triple H back when maybe Randy Orton was champion about to defend it against Triple H back in like 2004. Long time ago. Probably the only 2 times I thought, oh, that guy spit on another guy. All right, I dig.
Let's see. Yeah, so he gets Nash involved. We get the 2 big guys going at it. Nash smashes Stevie. Stevie gets the reverse on Nash. He starts smashing Nash. And it leads to Booker T and Stevie Ray double teaming on Nash. They're both tagging in and out. Let's see. Booker T eventually winds up the one in the ring. Hall gets tagged in, and then they isolate Book and they start working on Booker T. This is a short match. It's like 12 minutes long, so we get good offensive displays by both teams where they're pulling off. More on Harlem Heat's end. They got a lot of good double team moves.
Yeah, like and it's kind of cool to see. Like how I talked about before, Scott Hall is a very, very good at taking punishment throughout a match, and then having to, as a bad guy or a good guy, he always has to come back before he wins, or he has to come back before he loses. Even in tag matches, he's maybe one of the top 3 sellers in professional wrestling. Like he's got to be up there because you watch these. I mean, we've like in the course of watching these matches, he's always getting his ass kicked.
Yeah, but that's him.
Yeah, he knows how to do it.
Dude, he's gonna put people over if he has to.
Yeah.
Let's see. There was a lot of good displays of tag team action, both back and forth, where they finally isolate Book, but then Sherry jumps on the apron and Hall makes out with her, gives her a big old kiss, which allows Booker T to get the upper hand on Hall at this point. They hit the Harlem Hangover on the Hall, and they go for the pin. But the ref, like we mentioned earlier, takes 3 minutes to escort Booker T, and it's all part of it because they're taking super long because Nash needs to get the cane away from the Colonel because Sherry's complaint. I don't know. It was really sloppy ending that dragged out way too long by the ref leading this guy out. The ref should have been knocked out or like dazed for a sec, like just gotten bumped into. It would have sold a little bit better.
And it's funny because it was like the second that he hit it, the referee slowly walks over, taps him on the back, walks him to the rope, helps him get. How often does no referees just stand there, out, like they're screaming, they're yelling.
The cat scratched Carla's wants.
Can she come here?
She's really, I don't know.
What's the cat doing?
The cat scratched Carla.
Uh-oh.
Guy
Cat
really
scratch
cat.
fever.
I didn't want to sing it. Oh, come here, booby. Come here. Let me see. Let me see. Where is it? Oh, these two? Oh, right here? You know what? Can you go get 3 little Band-Aids, honey bear? It's okay. Come here.
Skin the cat.
Let's see here, honey. Let's see. Come here. Okay, let me see. Let me see what I can do here. Let me see. Aw. We can fix that. Oh, a little hair on you, too. It's okay. Let me see. Okay. This is very entertaining podcast listening, all of our viewers.
Do you have brown Band-Aids?
Skin tone.
Skin tone?
So
peach?
white. So white.
Oh,
Transparent.
You better go get some brown ones and use them.
You want one up there too? Okay.
How bad are the scratches? Are they pretty bad?
Probably have to cut it off.
The whole hand?
The whole
arm?
The whole arm's gone.
Oh no!
I'm joking. Mufasa had it worse.
Well, with technology nowadays, she'll probably.
Yeah, we'll grow you a new hand. How's that sound?
You're half robot.
You want one more?
She'd be like Luke.
No. You're good.
You guys watch The Lion King yet?
If Kara and the kids don't go to Windsor this weekend, we are going to see Lion King on Sunday.
It was good.
You saw it? Is it good for a 5-year-old, would you say? Not too scary? She's watched Harry Potter. She's seen like a lot of death in movies, so.
This one wasn't as harsh as the animated one.
It wasn't as harsh?
Well, maybe because I was a kid when I saw the animated one.
There you go.
But it
See
was
those
good.
muscles. See those muscles.
Aww.
Okay. Love you.
Love
Kiss.
you.
Hey. Okay. Have a good night.
Bye.
Oh, you want to do the special one? Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Love you.
Love you, Dad.
Get out of here. You can close the door for me, honey bear. Love you. See you tomorrow, honey. You what?
Can get something from here?
Sure. What do you want to get? You want the look? Oh yeah, you can take it. Sure, you can move this.
Check out the rewrites.
You got your luggage, honey bear?
Check out
Yeah,
the
you're hanging.
podcast. Hit that subscribe button.
Go the other way. There you go. There you go.
Check out that Caesar, Sun Caesar. I haven't seen that guy in forever. I don't know what's up with him. I don't know if he's alive. Probably is.
Yeah, he's alive. I think he commented on something the other day.
I don't know. He's doing stuff. I'm out of the loop. I'm an old man. I'm in my own world with shin splints and jump rope and.
I love you. Oh, you want your necklaces? Here. Put it on. You want this one here? A little bracelet?
Should you get a rampage chain?
And
No Rampage chain?
for the Heartbreak Kid.
What?
Yeah. There you go. Get out of here.
Boom.
Okay. I love you. Have a good sleep. What's wrong? Oh, that better? Okay. Our listeners are leaving as we speak. Yes, I will definitely give you some snuggles. Don't you worry. I love you.
Damn, someone's fucking motorcycling over there all crazy.
Oh, fuck, man. We're kind of close to the country, so we have a lot of that shit.
Nice.
Sorry. We're back. Sorry about that.
No, that's super endearing, Ryan, with your kids. It's cool as hell.
Just got a place in my heart.
Let's see.
So, did we finish the Harlem Heat, or were we?
Yeah. We just finished it. The Kane.
Oh, right.
The Kane.
Yeah,
He hit him
that's
with
right.
the Kane.
Yes, the two shots. Okay. The one thing I didn't like about the Kane shot also was that he was holding the cane the wrong way. So he had the hook part facing down. So it almost looked like he was trying to like pull him off. It's like,
Yeah, it wasn't good.
no, it was a messy finish. It was sloppy. Even like when not Tennessee Lee, Colonel Parker, when he went to go and hit Kevin Nash, Nash turned around before he even had the cane up to hit him.
Yeah.
Like he didn't even look like he was in attack. He was just looking. He was just in the ring just for the sake of being in the ring.
It was very sloppy.
Yeah, it fell flat. It was cool to see Scott get his first piece of gold in WCW. I don't know if he held US or TV also, but I know he was a couple times tag team champion.
He definitely held both, and at one time he held, I don't know, I'm pretty sure it was a tag team championship and the TV championship, and he threw the television championship in the garbage. Pretty disrespectful. But yeah, he did that. I think we have one match left. Yeah, right? Hall versus Bam Bam.
Yeah, that was well, and we were going to talk about briefly a couple other things.
Yeah. So,
but yeah,
Hall really, I would say, he's one of the most generous guys in putting other guys over and willing to work with people. And it shows early in his career with Brett, with 1-2-3 Kid, and how he's gonna have a good match even if he's gonna lose. And it goes to show in WCW as well. He's willing to put over a talent in Jericho that is 100% over with the crowd, but Goldberg won't work with him. Nash doesn't want to put him over. Hogan's never going to work with him. Sting won't put him over. None of the big guys want to put him over, but Hall recognizes the same thing he recognized in the Kid in 1-2-3. He made 1-2-3 Kid what he was. And I'm not saying Hall made Jericho what he was, but he definitely put him over, and he let Jericho go over on a big guy.
Yeah, because when Jericho came, he had a. Okay, I don't know how big the audience was. Jericho was over in Mexico. He was over in Japan. A lot of North American audiences were familiar with him because of the Cruiserweight TV title reigns that he would have had around this time. Maybe not TV, maybe just Cruiserweight. But Jericho was always that guy that he needed the breakout match, but no one, like you said, no one would give it to him. So he was always relegated to fighting Malenko, Juventud, Psychosis, La Parca, Ray, Eddie, Chavo, Ultimo. I could go on. He was never fighting not even the A-listers. The B-listers wouldn't even give him a title, a fight, or put him over. They wouldn't even get in the ring with him.
Dude, the NWO was shitting on him. Four Horsemen would shit on him in matches.
Yeah.
They just wouldn't put him over, and Razor was willing to do that for people. He said it. He's like, I'm here to make friends. He's like, I already got money. He's like, I'm gonna keep my friends, and he was definitely very loyal to his clique members, but he was also loyal to the business of putting people over that deserve to be put over.
And that's something that, and I know a lot of people don't agree with me, but he's a lot like Triple H in that sense. Triple H isn't viewed in that way because Triple H does have the book. He is married to Triple H is the owner in waiting.
Mm-hmm.
Triple H has had countless title reigns and countless amazing feuds. But Triple H would also never be afraid to put guys over at WrestleMania, at SummerSlam, at King of the Ring, at Royal. Triple H would do what's best for the business at that time for a story. And I think that he actually did get a lot of that from Scott Hall. And I didn't realize how generous Scott Hall was until I actually sat down and watched these matches, a lot of them, because some of these guys, you're like, come on, like this is a squash match. Like these guys lose all the time. Or like Jericho, like I said, he didn't even get in the ring with some of these guys.
Mm-hmm.
And then here's Scott Hall saying, I'll go in the ring with you and I'll put you over. And give me a month and a half, I think it was, I'll give you a rematch. Like Scott Hall wasn't afraid. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and I told you I don't want to forget to mention this part, but Tony Schiavone, man, when Jericho slips out of the outsider's edge and rolls him up, like, oh, the kid's gonna do it, and it's such an easy throwback to Six Pac, I guess. I don't know, maybe he was X Pac, maybe he wasn't. He may have been back in WWF at the time, but it was a throwback to the 1-2-3 Kid, saying how the kid did it. Yeah. Like it was a quick foreshadow because just before the roll up, he says it, and Raph kind of spoiled it for me by telling me, well, what about when he put Jericho over? And I was like, what, he put Jericho over? But when I watched it, I was like, oh shit, like, god damn, like, and again, he let Jericho get some moves in. Mm-hmm. He gave Jericho an ass whooping, and then he let him get over.
Yeah, did kind of the exact same thing he did for Kid, except for WCW. It was
exactly. Yeah, it was, and the sad thing is that after that, Chris Jericho ended up toiling for a year and a half before going to WWF. Like they just
fuck I'm out of here.
They just didn't care. Mm-hmm. They just did not care. Yeah. No one else wanted to do what Scott Hall was willing to do. Mm-mm. And that shows his character.
Yep. So this would lead us to pretty much our last match of the night. Like we mentioned, Bam Bam Bigelow versus Scott Hall in a ladder match for the Taser.
This was a fucking weird match.
Yeah, so I guess if we do kind of a fast forward, Razor kind of and the Outsiders hold the title for a long part of 96. 97 comes around, the NWO is still good and going. By the end of 97, beginning of 98, the NWO begins to splinter, and Scott Hall's alcoholism starts to become a problem, to the point where him and Nash are showing up at shows pilled up, drunk. Nash seems to be able to control himself and keep working, but Hall at some points has to take a hiatus, even up until a year, which they work into the story at one point, where he comes back and he's a drunk. He leaves rehab or whatever. He pukes on Bischoff.
So many, like there was. I remember a backstage thing when Nash and him were kind of talking, and he stumbles and he like falls through a door, or he like crashes through like plywood walls. Like, a lot of just like. And Bischoff, to his credit, has admitted that if he could go back, he wouldn't have utilized this angle. Fuck, man, like it's just so sad to see. Like, and for those of you who don't know, Scott's alcoholism started because he murdered a man he was a bouncer at a strip club. Guy pulled a gun. There was a brief tussle, and Scott got the gun and shot the guy and killed him. Scott would be dead today had he not been the one to control the gun.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, thankful in some ways that he got control of the weapon, but he was never able to get proper counseling. He was never able to really sit down and figure shit out, and it led to like just a downward spiral in his life.
You want to hear something crazy? I think I mentioned it here once. I've talked about it, but so I watched Razor Ramon. I watched Scott Hall. He was my favorite wrestler. I went away to college in 2007. They weren't into wrestling. I had a super busy schedule with fraternity stuff, going to school, working at night, not really having cable, internet not being what it was for streaming services. So I wasn't really watching wrestling at that time. So I would like to cover some more matches. I'm gonna start picking more matches from that era, if we do a pick six or other wrestlers. But
Yeah, for sure.
I stepped away from it for a while because no one was into it. I was busy a lot. I was taking Muay Thai, and Mondays I would work a lot at night. Around the time I was coming back to Chicago, and I was getting back into wrestling a little bit, but maybe like 2 years before I started getting back into wrestling. I would talk about old school wrestling, and I would still talk about wrestling. So one of the younger guys is like, "Hey, have you seen that ESPN thing on Hall?" And I'm like, "What are
Oh,
you talking about?"
that E60 was
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, "No, what is it?" And then he's like, "You should check it out." She's like, "It's pretty dark," and I'm like, "What the fuck are you talking about? It's pretty dark." He didn't know I didn't know anything about this. Like he just knew I liked wrestling and I liked Razor Ramon. And I start watching it, dude. I got super fucking bummed out. I got super fucking sad learning of that incident that happened and what it led to and his drug addiction and the deterioration of such a fucking man of so much
Yeah.
machismo. How
And
much pills
you got to
fucked him
think
up.
that like he was in the AWA, he was in Crockett, he was in AWA, he was in WWE dealing with this the whole time, and then it all just hit. It all just finally like hit its peak and in the WCW days.
Uh-huh.
Like he had issues for God, it was almost 20 years before it really showed its full effect. I know I didn't see the E60, I think it's called, but I remember coming home from work after I remember I had like a 14, 15, 16 hour shift, and I got home and like just felt dirty, had burns, just miserable of my day, and I was like, dude, you gotta see this. And he hit play, and I hadn't eaten. I'd worked all these hours on nothing but caffeine, and I was crashing. And I remember sitting there and watching this, and I started crying.
Dude,
I'm like, what
I
the?
definitely got teary eyed. I don't know if I
I
cried.
I
I'm
remember
not saying
crying.
I'm not
I
saying
remember
I'm
crying. I'm
mad or
like,
something.
what? Like, not because I knew the story,
Mm-hmm.
but because the storyline back then, you didn't know that it was real. You thought it was just a storyline.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Scott Hall's walking to the ring with an alcoholic beverage. Ha 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 ha. No, that's a real fucking problem. This guy's killing himself.
Yeah, it was fucking sad, dude. And then like, I'm telling you, he was my favorite. And then seeing that dude, it really fucking bummed me out. I was like, what the fuck? And little by little, like I almost grew to hate what I had seen and what he had become and everything about. I was like, what the fuck, man? I'm like, am I even a fan of this guy anymore? And eventually, just seeing him come back and being able to pick himself back up to where he's at, it's just that is inspirational as well.
Oh,
What
100%.
he's been able to do.
That angle though, like that angle back in the late 90s, like to hear Scott's ex-wife say it drove their marriage apart because they enabled him, to hear Scott say it almost killed him, to hear his friends say they saw a side of him they never saw, and to hear Bischoff say, I regret making money off of someone's issues. It's people throw powerful around, but when you actually see and hear the friends, the family, the everything like it, and you like like me and you, we were kids. We grew up with this guy, and then you see what he became. And you're like, fuck, man. Like, can you imagine, like, in like 10 years' time, Tom Brady's stepping onto the college football field for some ceremony. He's gonna throw some random footballs, and he staggers out there, wasted as fuck, and someone has to actually throw his arm for him to throw the football. It's unheard of. But in wrestling back then, especially, that was the thing. Like, there was no testing for anything. There was no wellness programs. There was nothing. Guys just drank, partied, live life. And
like the painkillers he must have taken for the match he had with Bam
oh,
Bam, just the amount,
and
the heart he
over
put
the
into
years.
matches. Yeah, over the years, dude.
I mean, think of it, Kurt Angle was in the business for, I think, about. Now, Kurt Angle did have the broken neck in the Olympics, blah, blah, blah. That story's not important. After 18 months in the business, Kurt Angle was taking 30 somas a day. Now, if I take 5 somas a day, I'm in the hospital getting my stomach pumped. So I can only imagine what Scott Hall was taking at that time frame. Mm-hmm. Wake up, vodka soma, beer and soma, tequila soma, get to the arena, a couple more things, like fucking passing pills and booze. It's, and then like you said, yeah, like these, like this ladder match with Bam Bam was right at the peak of his downfall. It was right at the top, and he's going out there and he's putting his body on the line and doing some shit. He did things with Bam Bam that he wouldn't do with Shawn Michaels. I love Bam Bam Bigelow. I don't trust him on a ladder more than I trust Shawn Michaels. Like, no offense to Bam Bam. I love him. I miss him. I wish that I could have seen more of him. But in a ladder match, that's not someone I want jumping on me, or, you know, like.
Yeah, no, dude, he's a big motherfucker.
And he's a solid motherfucker.
Yeah, him and Hall have a back and forth before Disco Inferno gets involved and trips up Bam Bam. Disco Inferno gets kicked out. Disco Inferno is pretty much Razor's lackey at this time. The NWO is a little weird right now. So
is this what? Sorry, I'll let you finish. I think you're gonna answer my question anyway.
Yeah, this is a taser match. This is led from Hall came back from being a drunk. Eventually, well, because he got tossed out of the NWO White as well. He was the lone wolf persona. Comes back. He's gonna tag against someone, but since he's not in NWO anymore, since they kicked him out, he doesn't have a partner. Nash tags with him, and then Hall tases Goldberg when Nash challenges Goldberg for the championship. I forget which one.
Starcade.
Okay. He tasers him.
See, Jeff, I do know WCW.
ends Goldberg's 173-0 no loss streak, and this pretty much leads into this. It leads into a Bam Bam Bigelow taser match, and then eventually we get like a Vader, Goldberg, Scott Hall taser match, but eventually it's a big lead up into Goldberg, Scott Hall taser match. I don't know.
This whole they even mentioned it, I think, at the beginning of this match. The taser stun gun and how stupid. Someone said how stupid it was that he had it, and I was like, it's a fucking stupid angle. Like, what's the point of this match? Whoever brings the taser down wins. You don't have to tase your opponent. You don't have to pin your opponent. It's basically a ladder match for a title or a Money in the Bank. But if you have it in your hand, you win.
Yeah.
That's pointless. Scott Hall could have handcuffed Bam Bam Bigelow to the guardrails, pulled down the taser, walked away, and it would have been a win. Mm-hmm. It would have been no point, but it would have been a win. It would have been better if the first man to bring it down gets to use it, like they used to do with those nightstick on a pole match, where if you get the nightstick, then you can use it, kind of deal, like Big Boss Man days. But yeah, God, like, and they tried to sell it. Well, if you get the stun gun, you're basically gonna win the match if you use it. Well, shut up. No, like, you can't ring the bell because I have this thing in my hand 10 feet above the guy who's laying on the ground. No, what's the point? It's so stupid. Like, I will say that I was blinded to the fact that I didn't see how it was going to end. I should have expected interference and a win for one of the two that would end up as nothing in the long run. But
Yeah. Let's see. This was a pretty brutal match, like we mentioned. They throw the ladder at each other a bunch. They hit each other with the ladder a bunch. Eventually, the last spot is them knocking each other off of the ladder a bunch of times. I don't know how I didn't keep count, but it was a bunch. Bam Bam goes for the stun gun, gets pushed off. Then Hall does it, gets pushed off, and it just happens over and over again till Bam Bam gets the stun gun, and then Disco Inferno comes and gives Scott Hall a stun gun of his own, and they kind of face off in a dual position. And then, as this is happening, Goldberg runs out and spears Disco Inferno on the ramp, and then goes and double spears Bam
that was
Bam
that was so good. I like
and
that a lot.
Hall, and then he commences to try to or does he stun gun Hall, and then the whole NWO comes
No. He tries to start. Maybe he stuns Bigelow, and then Scott Hall stuns him, and Scott Hall escapes with Disco. But there was definitely they try. Did he? There was other bodies in the ring, and now I'm not remembering if it was referees or if it was NWO guys. But Hall definitely stunned him to get out of a position and escape out of the ring with Disco.
Okay, I actually had it right here, and it was actually on the spot. So Goldberg picks up both stun guns, stuns Bam Bam, stuns Hall, and then
Okay.
and then NWO member comes in, hits Goldberg.
Oh, Scott Norton comes in. That's right.
Scott Norton comes in,
That's right.
hits Goldberg, and Hall escapes with Scott Norton, and
Dude, how
that's
fucking
it.
tough is Scott Hall? Goldberg gets a fucking taser. He's out for 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Scott Hall gets hit with a taser. 3 seconds later, he's out. He's out of the ring. He's running away. He's good to go. He's fine. He's good.
He wouldn't have lost his belt.
Wrestling's fake? What? No, it's not.
Well, I guess he did get jackknife powerbombed after that. So, but still,
but still, he was still twitching.
Yeah.
But the one part of this match that I really, really loved was when Scott Hall was trying to climb the ladder and Bam Bam was stopping him, and Scott Hall kicked him, and Bam Bam falls down. And at a point where you could easily just like climb up the ladder and grab it, Scott Hall did it was a really smooth, like, the way that Bam Bam fell gave him the perfect amount of space to land a mid-ladder elbow drop.
Mm-hmm. What's up with these flimsy ladders, man? These guys weigh a lot.
Like I told you, I said to you last night when I was watching this match, I'm like, so WWF had one ladder for 13 years, and WCW just bought it used. Like, come on,
you have to use this one, or else it's not the real ladder match. It's like, all right.
Are you using aluminum or are you using steel? Like, fuck, man. But no, it was a fun match, and I was actually happy you picked it because I got to see Bam Bam Bigelow in a ladder match. So like I like your matches because I got to see Rick Martel, which was a different competitor for Scott Hall to face. Vader, a big man in a straight up match, and then Bam Bam Bigelow, who's an agile as fuck guy in a ladder match. So like you picked some brilliant matches to showcase what Scott Hall could actually do in his career.
Ooh, yeah. It's the machismo, bro.
Oh.
Too much machismo. I ooze it. So I guess we can touch a little bit on the rest of his career and then bring this biatch to a close. Let's see. After this, there really nothing, to be honest. The whole uh
Uh,
there's a lot, but it's a lot of personal issues, man. The whole alcohol really fucks him up.
no. You're forgetting. You can't say nothing, because coming up, he's gonna be the ultimate seller of the Stone Cold Stunner.
Oh yeah, the cancer and but see, like they
No,
get brought in 2000. What was
I'm
it?
just, 02.
Yeah, they get brought in
Oh
02,
03,
and
oh two, oh three.
it's
Yeah.
02. It's a complete failure.
I'm just busting balls. No,
Yeah,
yeah.
I
Like,
actually forgot. I wanted to talk. I didn't want to talk about that. I wanted to touch on it,
we
and
should just do an NWO in the WWF show.
yeah, that was so he gets brought back into the WWF. They know he has a problem, and they actually even spill beer on him, which is kind of fucked up.
Well, what?
Something to wrestle with. Bruce Pritchard talked about it.
Okay, yeah, I wasn't sure if it was something to wrestle or if it was 83 weeks, but yeah, I think you're. They talked about how Scott Hall had to take those special pills, and he would just like fake to take it or toss it. And yeah, that scene in the locker room where Stone Cold is pouring beer, like, I'm just gonna skip 17 years and say 2 weeks back when they did Stone Cold coming back and all those guys in the ring, and it was the huge Raw reunion.
Mm-hmm.
And WWF said, Scott, we don't want you in the ring because Stone Cold's gonna have beer, blah blah blah. And he said, "Cool, man,"
Mm-hmm.
and he was fine. And I mean, to see him in 2007, 6 at that indie show, and to see him now say, you know what, they're gonna drink beer in the ring. I don't want to be around it. That's big.
God
Because
bless DDP.
a lot of guys would say, I'm cool. I'll just stand in the corner.
Mm-hmm.
But he was like, you know what? You're right. I'm not gonna do it.
Mm-hmm.
Like that, because he wanted to be a part of the show, and that was the reason why he was allowed to be a part of the show, because he was not allowed to touch it. And that's like, it makes me so happy to see where he's come in this time frame. Because let's be real, he should be 6 feet under.
Yeah.
He really should. And it kills me to even think that way.
No, but he said it himself.
But he should not be here today, and he is.
Yeah, he did some stints in TNA 2002, 2004 to 2005, 2007, 2010. I didn't watch TNA, so I can't really touch on that. But
Never
yeah, he was going through a lot of personal shit at that time too. It wasn't anything near what he was capable of or what he had done in WWE, WCW, or WWF and WCW with his Razor character and NWO gimmick. DDP Yoga pulled him out of all of that bullshit in I don't know exactly when, 2013.
He went in the Hall of Fame in 15. So yeah, 13, 14, around that time frame.
2014 he went in.
Yeah, around that
So
time.
a year before that started his recovery, maybe a year and a half before that. So like 2012, his recovery started. DDP started helping him out with DDP Yoga.
Was Scott the one that had the hip, or was that Jake?
Jake.
Oh, okay.
Scott's the knees. His knees are fucked.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah,
I know there was a crowd funding thing with the hip replacement that was like through the roof for one of the two, but
he's back at it. He got inducted in 2014, and he appeared on the 25th anniversary. He's appeared on the Raw reunion last week, I think it was, or 2 weeks ago. And he does indie stuff, and he does signings, but he doesn't wrestle anymore, and he's responsible about the drinking.
And it's weird when you become a fan of wrestling and you also become knowledgeable about backstage shit, because WrestleMania 31, Sting and Triple H, when he made his appearance with the NWO to defend Sting's honor against DX. And I was like, okay, awesome. NWO's here to fight DX. This is so great. Wait, they're defending Sting. Wait, Triple H is friends with Scott Hall and Kevin Nash and X Pac. Like, what's like? It was so. And then like it was so confusing. Like, I get a lot of the story angles and shit, but like, and DX in the Hall of Fame this year, Scott Hall, Kevin Nash were there. Like they still go to these events. They still make their appearances. It's awesome to see him. He looks like he's lived the life of the story that we've kind of told now. Mm-hmm. He looks that way. But the fact that I can say that he looks that way and not that I wonder what he would look like had he be here, that's awesome to me. The fact that he's changed his life from being dead back 22 years ago to still kicking, fighting every single day, understanding that you don't want me around alcohol, that's awesome. I shouldn't be around it. You're right, Vince. Like, he's an inspiring story. He's overcome so much in his life, man. Like I don't want to drag this on too much because I could talk about Scott Hall a lot. I really do like Scott Hall, not as much as you. As a person, he's a very inspiring person to me, I find, because of his battles. But from a fan standpoint of watching him perform, man, like this guy, like I cannot say enough things about him as an entertainer, as a performer, on the stick, off the stick, like he was fucking, man, he could do so much. Like we only gave you 6 matches plus a couple little dips into other things. Like there are a lot of other matches that you can check out with Scott Hall that will be like, oh shit, like goddamn.
All right, well, thanks a lot, Ryan, for helping me out with this episode.
Thank
with
you.
My favorite wrestler. We'll see who we do next, and we'll see what our next episode is. We'll definitely figure that out.
Sable, Miss Kitty, Medusa,
Trish.
yeah.
All right. Yeah. So, last words. Hey, yo. Hard work pays off. Dreams come true. Bad times don't last, but bad guys do.